Gather up your projects, settle in your favorite spot. It's time to stitch with Sarah at her stitchy Camelot. Let's celebrate each other, this community we've got. It's time to get down to Sarah's stitchy spot.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my FlossTube channel, where we will discuss and celebrate all things cross-stitch. Grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and join me
at Sarah's stitchy spot.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is FlossTube number 6. It is Thursday, September 15th, 2022. I would like to take this moment to welcome each and every one of you to my FlossTube channel. If you are new and you like what you see, I hope you will subscribe, like the video, share, ring the bell, and do all the things that we do on YouTube. If you are returning, thank you. Thank you always from the bottom of my heart. I feel like I am getting to know each and every one of you as we converse and dialogue through the comments. I love reading your comments. I love responding to your comments. I love your humor, your encouragement. I like the fact that I'm becoming a bit of an enabler and helping you with those purchases of charts and fabric and threads and all the things. And most important, I am thrilled to be a part of your journey and a part of this cross-stitch community. So let's get into it. I did want to thank those of you that appreciated the shout out to Keoni and Reps to the Rhythm. I continue to feel that exercise is important for us to move around a little and mix it up with our sedentary sport of cross-stitch. I forgot to mention last week when I was talking about Keoni, the joy of watching all his cats. I think Keoni does probably some rescue with cats, and so often there are several frolicking around as he exercises, and it makes it so enjoyable to watch. So I'm glad you seem to appreciate that. Again, I encourage you to check out his channel. It does give you opportunities to do a little bit of movement during the day in an easy and in an enjoyable way. So let's get into it. I have to say how beautiful the weather is right now in Northern California. The last 2 mornings we have woken to cool, crisp, almost fall-like air, and what a welcome relief that has been after the several weeks of very hot temperatures we've had. And I hope all of you are starting to experience these cooler temperatures, and that we can see that fall is really around the corner, and we can start stitching with abandon on our Halloween pieces and fall pieces and even our holiday pieces for Christmas and Thanksgiving. So I just feel mentally more alive with the coolness of our outdoors, and I'm enjoying it very, very much. I wanted to start off with talking about some FlossTubers that I have been watching. I wanted to give a shout out to a new but a returning FlossTuber. This is Tania. She is the Zen Stitcher. I had the pleasure of meeting Tania in Arizona when we had a small retreat in February. Tania and I were early risers, and so we were often the first two down in the stitching room. And so we had ample opportunity to get to know each other better, to solve all the world's problems. And so I encourage you to check out her FlossTube. She has a couple that are up now that are newer. She's an extremely accomplished cross-stitcher. She has some beautiful stitching. She has some beautiful finishes. She's a very calm presence, and I think that you will enjoy her very much. Secondly, this is certainly not a shout out for a new floss tuber, but I did want to mention, if you haven't seen Carol Saltbox Stitcher's latest floss tube, she does a sampler finish parade. So she actually is showing several of her pieces that are fully finished that she's had on her wall of samplers that she's done over her stitching journey, and it's just not to be missed. It's eye candy that you just can't imagine. So I know all of you know Carol. She is such a inspiration to all of us. But this one in particular, with this being Sampler September, I think a lot of you will enjoy. It will inspire you and give you ideas for samplers that we could all start working on. So that is Carol Saltbox Stitcher. And I will, of course, link all of these below. I wanted to give a couple of thank yous. One is to Anna and Caroline of Curious Crafters for their nice shout out, and secondly to Samantha of the Hugie Stitcher for her shout out as well. Samantha dedicated her most recent video to samplers that she is working on. She has started Dutch Beauty by Perman, and it is just beautifully stitched thus far. And she has decided to add the Red Deer sampler, which, as you all know, I did start since I've seen you last. And she has put that on her list of samplers that she would like to do. So that is Samantha at the Hugie Stitcher. I also wanted to mention that last time I did show several pieces that I had finished but not fully finished. And I had mentioned that I was going to be sending those off to the framer. I have done that. I picked 3 of those pieces and I have sent them to L&M Framing. Lisa, their organization is in Ohio, and they stitch, they do framing for stitched pieces. You can see some of their work on, actually Carol Saltbox Stitcher just had several pieces framed by them. Laura has had pieces of Brenda and the Serial Starter, and as well as Pam and Stephanie of Just Keep Stitching. So I packaged up 3 of my pieces. They have a form that you download on their website, which I will link below. And so you do a sheet for each piece. They have received my pieces, which that is always a good thing to hear. And we should be getting together soon and starting to pick out some frames for those. And I will be very excited to show those to you when I get those back. So we will dive into stitching. I do have a small fully finished piece that I would like to share with you, and that is this little sweetie. This is, and again, this is, I think, Italian, but it is called Bimba April, which I think is probably something for April. I know they were doing each month there was a different a little girl to be stitched. I picked this one because of the hugs, and I am going to give it to my granddaughter this weekend when we celebrate her 10th birthday. She's in double digits. Time goes by fast, that's for sure. I stitched this on a mystery 32 count linen with the called for DMC. I put a little backing with some butterflies. It is finished in Lady Dot's chenille trim in the brick house red. I'm pretty sure that's the color. And I used the called for DMC. So that is Bimba April by Lily Violet. And that is my fully finished piece this week. Okay, so next I actually wanted to go through some previous finishes that are framed that I would like to share with you. And so the first one of those is 3 Chairs by Carriage House Samplings. I think we've got that there. 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, 3 for society. Isn't that cat on that chair just gorgeous? I stitched this on 16 count Aida in the color Legacy. I used the called for DMC. I stitched this right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was still using primarily Aida at that time. So that is 3 Chairs by Carriage House Samplings. I just love it. Very fall. Okay. The next piece is Little Women by The Primitive Hare. And that is here. I love this because it's such a different take on Little Women. I have a more traditional piece that I finished that you see in the intro. I stitched this also on 14 count Aida Legacy with the called for DMC. And that is Little Women by The Primitive Hare. The next piece is, I'm ashamed because I don't know the name of it. I did this 6 or 7 years ago, and you know, I would stitch, and I didn't even keep the patterns back then. But this was a piece, a chart. Boy, that's really gonna be hard to get the glare. That I picked up in Paris to commemorate that lovely trip that Stan and I took about 7 years ago. And this represents pastries. And I ate every one of them. I can't pronounce them, but I did eat every one on this cross-stitch piece. You can see the colorful macaroons and then of course the tart on the other end. But the middle 3 pieces are a little complicated to pronounce. But this was also stitched on a Aida with the, it was a kit, and I used the called for DMC. So it's a lovely, whimsical memory of that incredible city of Paris. It was like a dream come true. Okay. And then the last piece that I want to share with you today is Emily's House by Lindy Stitches. And this is a big one. We are really fighting a glare. There we go. Maybe that's a little better. This piece says, "Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute." I stitched this on a mystery even weave with the called for overdyed floss, and I think there are a few DMCs as well. This is, again, is one of those pieces that I look at and I can't believe that I stitched it. It just brings me such joy. It actually is on the wall in front of my stitchy spot, and so I can always look up and see it, and it brings me so much happiness. So that is Emily's House by Lindy Stitches. And so those are the previous finishes that I wanted to share with you this week. Next, we will go into, I have 2 finishes. Yes, finishes. And the first one, let me get everything organized here, is Dancer by Barbara Anna. I was very close to this last time you saw, to a finish, and so that is Dancer by Barbara Anna. I stitched this on 32 count Murano in the splash granite. I used the called for DMC. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to fully finish it. I suspect that I will put it in a frame. This pattern came from the 2021 Christmas holiday magazine for the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. Again, I want to give a big plug for that magazine. It is incredible. It is so worth every penny. The projects, the designers that they choose are amazing. They divide it pretty evenly between punch needle pieces and cross stitch pieces. And even though I don't do a punch needle, there are plenty of cross stitch pieces. Most of the magazines, I would cross stitch just about everything that is in there, which is rare for, as we know, for publications. So anyway, that was the 2021 holiday Christmas Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. And that was Dancer by Barbara Anna. The second piece that I finished is Susanna Eckles. I will put a picture of that there. I was working off of PDF, and this is Susanna Eckles. Oh, such a sweet, sweet piece. The urn is just gorgeous. I love the colors. I stitched this on a 36 count Winter Wren by Fox and Rabbit. I did the Victoria Clayton Silks conversion. And I'm looking forward to having that framed and on my wall. It is such a sweet piece. This is by Mama Loves You GB. I will put her Etsy store below. So, Susanna Eckles. And that was one of the samplers that I had planned to work on for September Sampler Soiree. And so as we get into now the pieces that I have worked on since I saw you last, I did want to again mention that a lot of us are using that hashtag, either September Sampler Soiree, which is used to identify those pieces that are original reproductions. And then there's also a hashtag that is simply Sampler September. And that is if you were doing any other type of contemporary sampler, but something that is not a reproduction sampler. That is hosted by Veronica of Senorita Stitches. And I will put links to that below. So as we get into what I have worked on over the last 2 weeks, I did I did use hashtag mature as Laura of Brenda and the Serial Starter refers to. It was it was a little hard to just stay concentrated on the few pieces that I had set out for myself to work on. But I do like the progress that I got. Of course, I loved the finish that I got on Susanna Eckles. But it was different stitching for me because, as you guys know, usually my works in progress are very much like a whip parade because I usually have several. So we'll get started with those. My first one is my, was not the sampler, but was Miss Sarah Jane by Lottie Da. This is the piece that I do try to put in at least 2 threads, 25 minutes a day on. And this is my progress so far. As you can see, we are continuing to work on the dress. I have started this flower, and we'll start working on the vines and small flowers as we go down. This is on stitched on a 32 count straw linen. I am stitching 1/2 on 32 count and using the called for DMC. So this is my daily stitch, and I'm looking forward to getting a finish on that. So then I also wanted to share with you my planner and for September. I don't know if we looked at that last week. As you guys know, I have referred to, I kind of decorate with my stickers as I go, because even though I call this a planner, I don't plan what I stitch. I tend to write daily what I have stitched on, and then I will go back and decorate with the stickers. But that is my September. So now we will get into the other pieces that I worked on. The first two are new starts, and then the other two are samplers that I am continuing to work on. So the first one is the Red Deer sampler, and you all heard last week or 2 weeks ago how excited I was to get started on that. You heard about the amazing customer service of Vicki Clayton in getting those silks to me so that I could start it on September 1st. So this is the Red Deer sampler by GiGiR. So I got quite drunk with power on the fabric choice, and with full transparency and all honesty, I realized as I got ready to stitch this piece that I was going to need a fat half and not a fat quarter. I wouldn't have picked it if I didn't love it. The Red Deer and I also discussed it, and she feels that she's going to look gorgeous on this piece. But it's a different choice, shall we say. So I picked 1001 Nights by XJU Designs. And I will show you first the picture of the sampler. This is the Red Deer sampler by GiGiR. And this is my start on my whack-a-mole fabric. But I think it looks beautiful. I think the greens are going to be complemented by the greens and the browns, and the red is going to look gorgeous on there. One of my viewers stressed the importance of working on the border as I go, because it is complicated. There are color changes within the border. This is all stitched 1/2, again with the Victoria Clayton silks. And this is 1001 Nights by XJU Design. And you can see that it is quite a piece of fabric. So we'll see. As Janine McGowan of the Blue Flower said, I did get drunk with power, and I'm kind of liking it. So that is my start on the Red Deer sampler. I will show you also the colors of the silks that I have put on floss drops so far. There are several more, but this is, and then there's a little bling that I made myself. So that is the Red Deer sampler. My and I did want to mention with the Red Deer sampler, I am piggybacking on to I think a previous hashtag, which is hashtag Red Deer Sampler Sal. I will put that below. Andrea on Instagram at Phil and69. I will also put that below. She has also started on the Red Deer sampler, And any of you that want to join and join us and with that would be obviously more than welcome. Again, I think I am piggybacking on someone's hashtag, but you know, the more the merrier. Let's all work on that beautiful red deer. Okay, so my next new start is Tom's Foolery by Hands Across the Sea, and I will put a picture here because I am working off of a PDF, and I will show you my start, which I've gotten a good little start on that. I am stitching this on 36 count Ghostly Shadows by XG Designs, and I am using the called for DMCs. Extremely colorful, whimsical. I do love color. And I am also joining two of my good friends that are stitching this, and that is on Instagram, and I will put this below, is at Bettina_cross-stitch and at Jan Holder. I think Bettina is very close to a finish on this, so please go look at her piece on Instagram, and like I said, I will put her handle and Jan's in the description box below. And this is a few of the DMCs that I have put on cards. I tend to put them on the cards as I go. I have one of the floss winders from R&R Hardworking. I'm not going to think of the exact name, but you all know his incredible work. R&R Hard Woodworking, Kentucky. But I encourage you, I don't think I could live without that. And so I tend to do those as I go. So that is the floss. That is the new start for Tom's Foolery by Hands Across the Sea. The next two samplers that I'm going to talk about, I had started previously, and I have had so much encouragement from all of you and wanting to see progress on the Smith sampler. And you saw it in my whip parade. And so that is this chart here. It is by the Scarlet House. Oh, the colors is beautiful. I am using the called for silks, with the exception of I put a Gentle Arts maple syrup. When I had this kitted up at the attic in February, the woolly bear that was called for was just not to be found. And so I substituted this. But other than that, the rest of this are the gorgeous silks that are called for. I am stitching it on a 36 count Cottage Stone by Color and Cotton. And this is my progress so far. So since you saw it last, I completed the swan motif. I have brought the border all the way across, and then working. We'll start working down. And of course, there's Sarah's traditional hanging thread. But this is just gorgeous, and I am enjoying working on it very much. So that is the Smith sampler by the Scarlet House on 36 count Cottage Stone by Color and Cotton, using the called for silks. I also have that in my Stitch Posse bag that Barry of Stitch Folk made for all of us at that small retreat. Okay. And then the last sampler that I had designated myself to work on is Thurza Priscilla Dawes by Hemlock and Rye, which is Julie, a Kansas City girl in a Colorado world. And this one I had been working on the most. I'm going to have a little crash. Anyway, this is my progress so far. I am concentrating now after getting this big color changed flower done now on this Peacock. I find that it's interesting that I am working on this as well as Tom's Foolery. They're both very, there's a lot of similarity in the whimsiness, the bright colors. I did, as I have explained before, Julie charted this using two colorways. She charted it from the colors that you can see on the front of the sampler, which are the ones that I chose to work on, which are, they tend to be a little more muted because they've been exposed to dirt and sunlight, and so they have just faded over the years. And then she also, and you get both of these when you buy the pattern, she charted it from the colors in the back, which is a brighter colorway. And but I did choose the age. That's the one that I'm using for this. And I will put a picture here of the pattern because I am working off of a PDF. So those are all the pieces that I have worked on since I saw you last. I do have just a little bit of haul, and I'm sure all of you are starting to reap the rewards of your pre-orders for Expo. I used great restraint, and I only ordered one piece so far. I have several that I do want to get as time goes by, but I am very excited about this piece. This is, and here's the important thing, I finished Susanna Eckles. So I feel like I should be able to start this in September because it is a reproduction sampler by the amazing Jan Hicks, and that is Antonia Roselle y Garcia, 1886. Isn't that just beautiful? And, of course, there is a floss pack from Victoria Clayton. Now, interesting, Jan did the same thing that Julie did with Thurza Priscilla Dawes. She charted both the muted colorway from the front of the chart as well as the bright colors from the back of the chart. And so to keep things mixed up and keep challenging myself with new colors and patterns, and I have gone with the bright colors for, these are really hard to show. But anyway, these are the silks. There's two more. I guess I don't have to cover up my face. So there's those. Let's see if I can get them all together here. And then, nope. Okay, is that close? Look at that purple, those pinks, the blues. So that is the Victoria Clayton silks to go with Jan Hicks, Antonia Roselle y Garcia, 1886. I plan to start that within the next couple of days as well, and we'll be able to show you progress on that next time. So that's my haul. Those are my stitch pieces and my plans. Well, obviously I'm going to start this new sampler. I will continue to work on the Smith sampler, the Red Deer sampler, Tom's Foolery, and Thurza Priscilla Dawes. I do want to continue to make progress on those in the month of September. I will probably stick a few other pieces in as well this time, maybe give a warning to a few other pieces that you've seen and let you see the progress on that. But I think I've said it. I have covered everything on my list. Again, if you like what you see, I hope you will subscribe and like my video and ring the bell and share. You continue to brighten my world and fill it with love, and I appreciate that so much. So I think I have covered everything, and I want you to grab your stitching, get comfortable, and stitch what you love. Bye.